25 at the time, and I started see and look at other families, and and all she ever just wanted, I would say, was closure and a proper family home. Also not coming from that herself. So it really ate away at her, and a lot of people had told her to turn her back on my dad, but at that stage she was very much committed to it. So she'd come for sometimes, I think all women have got something that they run to, advice that they run to. And I remember at my young age, she put things in the trolley and I take it out and I put it back on the shelf, and like, Mommy, we don't have money for that. And so we grew up, we were very, very close, and and a lot of things my mother shared with me, maybe she should not have at that young age, but because she never really had anyone. So me and my mom were friends, and I think it kind of works a bit to my benefit because unlike most men, I was raised by a woman, so as much as I followed a little bit of a delinquent part a bit later, which I spoke about, but I learned to understand and I think the emotions of women a bit more than most men, so I see that now in my adulthood. So nevertheless, time went on, and I think because I was always someone who was able to speak about certain things, and I dealt a bit easier with the events of the night. Shelton, I never spoke. So he was always the naughty one in the two of us, and because I had done better in school, because I was a bit more ambitious, they kind of like sidelined him, and I see that now in our adulthood. So at a very early age, he started getting into trouble, and he was stuck in the system very young. And the other hand was the golden boy, because I'd done well, I'd done better, I was responsible, but it created even more of a rift between us as brothers. And so time went on, and Shelton would be in these places. Shelton was really incarcerated at a very young age, places like Bellevue and Excelsior. And I know this is supposed to be about me, but I just want to bring context to understand certain things. I, on the other hand, was doing well in school. I'd actually made a promise to myself, because mom made us believe that the entire case with Dad, that it was a scuffle. She made us believe it was homicide, that Dad and the magistrates were fighting and his gun went off. So as a young man, I made a vow that I would not be violent, as much as I had a filthy temper. And so if there were instances where, I grew up in a place called Units East, and I think anyone would know it's a colored township, just like any other place, like the Zuma, Lazi or Phoenix, regardless of the race, but the manner in which things happen is the same. Young men are territorial, and everyone's trying to show themselves as the alpha male. And because of the lack of male guidance, and there was no uncles behind us, there was no father behind us. My grandfather was there, he done his best as well, and I know God bless his soul, but unfortunately he was also bound by addiction. So there was actually no one to have our back. So amongst myself and my siblings, I was the eldest. And there were times when things would be taken from myself and Shelton, and I'd sit down and cry, and I'd beg not to fight, because I never ever wanted to become violent. And I always said to myself at a young age, I'd be different. I wouldn't become a typical colored stigma. I always said I'd never go to prison, and I'd never take up construction work, and I wanted to serve God at this young age, and then things happened that kind of twisted my little mind. At in the age of, I believe I was 8 coming into 9, but around about there I was molested, and it was something I never ever spoke about, because certain things are taboo in our homes to speak about, and I was always so scared about how would the community take it, how would my grandfather take it, how would my father take it. I felt as if though I had done something wrong.